Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that understood that Charles was in charge, that Mona was the boss, and always knew what Willis was talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Cody, and with me as always is my friend and co-host,
Zac.
And today we're going to take a look at my favorite games, my top 10 games of 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to take a look at my top 10 games. I brought Zac along to offer some color commentary on this. But first of all, I'd like to thank the good people here at Game Haven in Sandy, Utah for letting us shoot here in their store. We really appreciate that. So let's go ahead, and first of all, I want to talk about a few things really quickly. I'm not including new editions of games on this list. I'm just doing brand new games because I got to tell you, as sucky a year as 2020 was, it was actually a pretty good year for board games. There's some really good games came out this year. And I got a lot of great games, and there's a lot of like new additions and kind of new games in a family. And I did not include any of those because there were just so many, and I wanted to include as many as I can. So let me just tell you some of these new additions that came out that will not be on this list. Undaunted North Africa. And you still haven't played that one, right?
I still haven't played North Africa yet, no.
I should say Undaunted Normandy was my #1 game from last year, 2019. But I haven't played Undaunted, or I had played Undaunted North Africa, but I did not include it because it's a new edition. Project Elite, which is a great game. It's kind of like Zombicide, but it's got a real-time component where you roll die. Depending on what the die does, you have to move the zombies toward you, or you can shoot them.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It is. It's a great game. I think Sean would get a huge kick out of it.
Yeah, he would.
It's a fun game. Marvel Villainous, which you played.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I played it with you the first time I played it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Fun game, but again, it kind of felt like it's just a re-implementation of Disney.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And then finally, Eclipse: Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Now, you played the original Eclipse. You haven't played Second Dawn.
You haven't played Second.
Great game, but again, it's a re-implementation, or it's a new edition rather. So won't be including that one. All right. Now, also, before I begin, a couple of honorable mentions. Two I want to mention. First of all, Aliens Bug Hunt from Upper Deck, which is a great game. The aliens are represented by die. You got minis for your soldiers, but the aliens are represented by die, and it's a fun game because it's kind of a dungeon crawl, but it's got some fun and innovative stuff with the cards you're playing and the way the die work, and it was just really a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. So let's go ahead and take a look then at my top 10 of 2020. My guess is you probably played about half of these.
Yeah, and I don't know what your top 10 is yet.
I know.
I have no idea what it is, so this is all, fresh commentary. Right. But yeah, I probably played it. I hope I played some of them because I played some really good new games this year.
I think you played 4 or 5 of them.
All right, cool.
So.
All
right. So first up, my number 10 is Imperial Struggle from GMT Games. Imperial Struggle is by Jason Matthews and Anand Gupta, who did Twilight Struggle, which we just played. We played Twilight Struggle the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Had a lot of fun with that. But Imperial Struggle is, it's not just a clone, it's not just a new implementation. It's a new game. It's a different game. But it takes place during the Second 100 Years' War between the England and France in the late 1600s to the, American Revolution, roughly. And it's a really fun competitive game that's got those same kinds of choices. It's not as card driven as Twilight Struggle. There are cards in it.
I can understand that.
But it doesn't have that same thing where, I got the OP and then your event triggers. It's more like you select cards at the beginning and then you kind of use them in conjunction with other things that are going on.
Okay.
But a good game, good competition for resources game, and again, it's a game that, like Twilight Struggle, forces you to make tough decisions. I think you'd get a kick out of it.
No, I'd like to play that. Imperial Struggle?
Imperial Struggle.
Okay.
We'll have to hit it. Maybe a hair more complicated, I would say.
Oh, really?
But not so complicated that I think you wouldn't enjoy it. But it's a little more complicated, I think, than Twilight Struggle.
Well, that's not too bad. I always say that Twilight Struggle is kind of the beginning of the complicated games.
Yeah,
so
your upper limit. What you said? It was something.
It was a gateway to complicated.
No, but
games.
you had said something like it's like. Didn't you say it was like the simplest complicated game?
Oh yeah, it's like the easiest complex game.
Yeah.
That I think I've ever played.
I think it's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is Imperial Struggle, my number 10 from GMT Games. My number 9 is another game that's going to evoke Twilight Struggle. This is a game you have not played, but I think you need to. This is Europe Divided.
Okay.
And one of the designers of Europe Divided is David Thompson, who is one of the designers of Undaunted Normandy. And this is a game where it's kind of the second Cold War, second part of the Cold War, from about 1990 to about 2020. So it's kind of the new Cold War with Russia. But what's cool about this game is you use die, you take die, and you place them in the spots for influence. So instead of like the chits, you use die to show your influence around the globe. And that is really a lot of fun, just using those like that. But you're trying to score cards, you've got events, you got different things to play out. Very much feels like Twilight Struggle in a lot of ways, but it's different theme and a kind of some different mechanisms you're using too.
Okay.
I think you'd get a huge kick out of it.
All right, cool.
All right. So that is my number 9. That is Europe Divided, and that is Phalanx Games did that one.
Try not to look at your list. I'm not looking at your list.
Okay.
Look at it.
My number 8 is another one that you've not played. I just played it recently. This is Apocalypse Road from GMT Games. Okay. Apocalypse Road is... I played a game called Thunder Road years ago, and I always wanted you to play it, and you never did.
Yeah, I never played Thunder Road.
But it's a racing game. Thunder Road is a racing game.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this one. Yeah.
And it's fun because you play cars, you've got teams of cars, and you play your cards to move your cars. But other players' cars are right in front of your guy or behind your guy. Depending on the card you play, you're going to push or pull other cars with you.
Okay.
So even when it's not your turn, you're paying attention because your cars are moving.
Right? Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and so when it gets to your turn, it's like, okay, this is what I got to do. But you can't really figure out your turn until it's your turn because you don't know where your guys are going to be. It's really a lot of fun. But then they did Apocalypse Road, which is like the same thing, but it's in a post-apocalyptic race. So you've got combat. You got cars can shoot at each other, and you're essentially drawing cards to see whether or not you get a hit, and then you got to look and see, well, what weapon did you use, and then you're trying to take your other competitors' cars out. And it's a lot of fun. You're trying to get victory points. You get victory points for taking other guys out. You get victory points every time you do a lap. And I think it's the first one to, I can't remember the number, but like 12 or something victory points wins the game. Yeah. Really a lot of fun.
The kind of a Mad Max kind of feel a little bit?
That's
cool.
Yeah. I mean, the cars and stuff look like there's something right out of Mad Max.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it is.
So they couldn't get the IP, so they just made their own game.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's freaking cool. It's a really cool game. But that's Apocalypse Road from GMT Games. That was my number 8. All right, my number 7, another one you haven't played.
Okay, all the ones I have played are probably the second half.
We're getting this out of the way.
Yeah.
But number 7 is another from GMT Games. This is Caesar, Rome versus Gaul. This is a game, again, I'll have my review up for this, like I will my review for Apocalypse Road up a little bit later. But this is a game that, it's based on Hannibal. Now, you did play Hannibal with me 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's longer than that, longer than 20 years ago.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
And it's that same system, same designer, but you're playing cards that move your guys around the board, and then of course you've got combat. But it's of course Caesar and the Gauls in in France, and you're trying to essentially you're trying to score points by how many territories you control. But your cards that you play, it's a good card driven. It's kind of like Twilight Struggle in that sense, in that you're playing cards that give you operational points, but then there's also events. And you can play it for the event or the operational points, and sometimes you can do it for both. And it's really a lot of fun. And it's the you kind of feel like as the Romans, you're kind of like the Axis and Axis and allies. You've got to strike hard and strike fast because you've got all the advantages. But over time, the bad guys are going to the bad guys. The Gauls,
right?
They're bad guys to Rome.
Yeah,
they're going to get more powerful, and they're going to be able to punch more holes into Rome. So if Rome isn't aggressive quickly, you're screwed. But it's a fun game, good card-driven game. Yeah. Another one I really enjoyed quite a bit. That is number 7, Caesar, Rome versus Gaul from GMT Games. Cool. Now, my number 6. This is one you have.
Oh, okay. Good. I get to contribute.
I know. All right. This is from Funko Games. This is Back to the Future, Back in Time. Back to the Future, Back in Time. Now, I should point out one of my honorable mentions. Did I mention Back to the Future Dice Through Time as an honorable mention?
I don't think you did.
Well, that's an honorable mention, too. I really like Back to the Future Dice Through Time, but it didn't make the list. But Back to the Future, Back in Time did make the list.
I bought that game the other day.
Did you?
Yes.
I knew you bought Dice Through Time.
Bought Dice Through Time, and then my wife and I were out kind of shopping, waiting for our table, and I saw it there. It was a good price. And
where'd you get it?
Barnes & Noble.
Oh, very cool.
They actually have a decent little game
yeah.
thing there. So I bought it there. It was a pretty good price. I'd already bought Dice Through Time, and I like Back in Time better, so I played it a few times in the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And taught my kids the game. And we played it once and won, and then realized we were playing it wrong, and played it with the rules and got killed.
What did you do wrong?
Well, the DeLorean, we were moving them each big space. We weren't moving them on the car spaces.
Oh, right. Yeah, you got to move them on the car space. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I still think we would have won, but that game is so hard.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
It's tough. But again, you don't want to play a cooperative game that's easy.
No. You want to lose more than you win on those games.
Yeah.
So I have both the Back to the Future games. I really like them. But yeah, I picked that up the other day.
But I think we agree, and we did a video on which one you should buy.
Yeah.
But the Back in Time has got the edge over Dice Through Time.
Yeah. We watched the movie, during the big holiday break, as they say, we had all this time. We watched Back to the Future again on TV. And so playing the game after watching Back to the Future fresh, it's so right on the movie.
Yeah.
Just about as good as any game I've ever played.
Yeah,
based on something.
On an IP game.
On an
right?
IP, yeah.
Best IP games. Battlestar Galactica, the Star Wars Rebellion, and this one's really good too. Capturing the feel. All right, so that is Back to the Future, Back in Time. I love it for all the reasons Zach said. That's from Funko, and that is my number 6.
Yeah.
All right, my number 5 is a game that you've played. I really liked it a lot. I think you were just kind of so on it. We played it here at Game Haven. A few weeks back with Mr. Russ Peacock, and this is Napoleon Returns 1815.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Now, I really like this game for a couple of reasons. I liked it because it's operational level Waterloo campaign, which I'm already interests me. But I like the card combat, how it's the matching card system. So it's not a real complicated game. It's not a deep war game. It's just a light, fun war game. Now, what were your thoughts on it?
I think I played 6 or 7 new games in 2020, and this still wouldn't make my top 10.
Really?
I didn't care for this game.
Really?
I didn't. The more I think about it, not just because we were playing with someone who wasn't, who could have been more fun to play. He might watch this. I don't want to say anything too rude. But it was, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. I didn't find it very interesting. I thought it was too kind of bland and generic and not really, didn't really know what I wanted to be, in my opinion.
I liked it because I felt it was... there were some really good choices. Now, I played it about 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah, I only played it the one time.
And, no, I played it 4 times because the Allies won twice and Napoleon's won twice.
Yeah.
And, because I've won once as both and lost once as both. And the games play out differently. Now, I've heard some people say it's broken and there's a strategy you can do, but I think I haven't seen that yet. But it's I think it's a pretty fun game. Like I say, because I love the theme. First of all, love the theme.
Well, that's always been I've known you since high school. I know that's an era you really like.
But the card play, I love the card fighting system. And we've seen it again. Speaking in Hannibal, the original Hannibal, they had that kind of card fighting.
No.
That's one of the reasons why I thought you'd like it, is because I remember how much you loved doing card fighting.
Now, you just alluded to something. You're saying that there's people say that there is a strategy that if you always play, you win. Is that what you're saying? That wouldn't surprise me with this game.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me that would be something.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard people suggest that's the case.
Yeah.
So
there is another game, I think, from the same people that was kind of like this that I really liked this year.
Well, let's just.
I know that's why I'm just teasing a little bit. But there's a game that was so far superior, and honestly, this game we're going to talk about later, I liked that so much it made me like this game even less.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So that is Napoleon Returns, 1815 from Worthington Games. That is my number 5. All right, number 4. This is one I don't think we played this. No, you didn't play this one with me. This is Shores of Tripoli from Fourth Circle Games, new game company. This is a great game about a theme. Who knows about this, right? Yeah. It's the Barbary Pirates Wars. Even given my extensive knowledge of history, this is something I hardly know that much about. But it's Thomas Jefferson versus the Barbary Pirates.
Oh, it's all from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
Yeah.
Beginning of the Marines.
And again, I'm going to invoke Twilight Struggle once again. Wow. You've got card play where you're playing cards for events or points, and you can the whole point of the game is if you're the Americans, you're trying to take the pirate base, but if you're the pirates, you're trying to essentially get gold. You're trying to steal gold from the Americans and shipping.
What a great event to base a game on. That's
I know,
that's a neat idea.
It's a brilliant theme.
It's almost like how's it not been done yet kind of idea.
Yeah, no one's done it that I know of. There may be one out there, but I don't know about it. But it's just a tremendously fun game. I really got a kick out of Shores of Tripoli. I thought, I kind of saw this one. I thought, oh, that looks like that'll be fun, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Really a lot of fun, and that was one I was thinking after I played it. This could be pretty high up in my top 10, and I was right. I could I think I said I thought it was Game of the Year material, and it's right. It's a brilliant game. I just like some of these others a little bit more, but I really liked Shores of Tripoli. So
that sounds fun. I'd like to play that.
We will. We'll play Shores of Tripoli. That's from Four Circle Games, and that is my number 4. Okay. My number 3 is a game I know you hated.
Oh, yeah? Even more than the other one?
This is Chancellorsville 1863.
Oh, my gosh. So much. You bought it for me for Christmas, and I love Chancellorsville. It's 3, huh?
Chancellorsville 1863 is my number 3rd game.
Interesting to see what 1 and 2 is, because I loved this game.
I know. He really did, and I loved it, too. It's a great game. Go ahead and tell me, what did you love about this game?
Well, the card, the combat was unique. The card play was really cool. It was it took a lot of elements of games I've liked and combined it in this whole kind of super game, in a way.
Yeah.
But no, and it was again. I mean, talking about the Shores of Tripoli. When you think of the Civil War, you think of Gettysburg. You think of all these other. You don't think of Chancellorsville. I don't even know that much about it, but it's just. Excuse me. It's just a fun and intriguing game.
It's got that hidden movement aspect.
Oh yeah, the hidden movement part of it's great.
Part of the board, you got mini maps. Each side has a mini map, and you put a thing up, and that's really cool. But we kind of wanted a little bit more of that aspect, because it says in the rules it kind of goes away after about the
it goes away fast.
Term.
I mean that's the thing. It almost kind of feels a little gimmicky, the hidden movement thing, because it doesn't last that long. I mean, it can make an impact.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But it goes along real quick. But the battle is the fight mechanism is so much fun in it.
Well, and it's cool because you got the core system, which is like in the Napoleon.
Yeah, but just much better.
You've got that, and then but what's fun here too is you got like that push your luck, right? Because you can keep lowering your core to keep doing rerolls.
That was a part of it I really liked.
And it feels like you're to these Civil War armies just banging your heads against.
You're sitting there, you got a horrible decision to make, but you have no choice. You got to make it.
Right.
Because failure is not an option.
But that's a lot of fun. This was from Worthington Games, and Mari Suckling, who designed it. He also designed Freeman's Farm 1777, which if you like that one, you'll love Freeman's Farm. That's another one we got to play. And Freeman's Farm is just fantastic, and I was thinking, well, if Chancellorsville's anywhere as good as this one, I'm really gonna get a kick out of it. And it is. In fact, right now I'd be hard pressed to tell you which one I like better, Freeman's Farm or Chancellorsville. They're both just phenomenal games. That's from Worthington's game. Anything else you want to say about Chancellorsville?
No, it's a great game. If you get it, everyone should get that.
Yeah, Chancellorsville, and I will have a review coming out for that one before too long. Probably in a few weeks I'll have my review for Chancellorsville coming out, so stay tuned. All right, Chancellorsville 1863 from Worthington Games. That's my number 3. My number 2 is another game you have played. Yes?
I'm not sure, because the only one I'm thinking of right now I think is your number 1.
What do you think it is?
Well, I think your number 1 is Dune.
Dune Imperium.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. Now I'll say this: my 2 and my 1.
Yeah.
Was interchangeable. I was wrestling with which one I like better.
Well, the thing is, you have a tiebreaker though, and that's just, but anyway, we'll get to number 1.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, number 2, what is it?
Number 2 is Dune Imperium.
Oh, number 2 is Dune Imperium.
Yeah, number 2 is Dune Imperium.
Oh, okay. Really? You picked something about Dune?
Yeah.
You love Dune.
I did.
Yeah, that was a great game.
I got to be honest with you. Everybody and their dog was going on about how good a game Dune Imperium was, and I kind of felt like I almost didn't want to like it as much as everybody else, because I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, you're also mad the movie got pushed back.
Yeah, I am mad about the movie getting pushed back. But anyway, well, it's this year now.
Oh, that's true. 2021 now.
But I really liked Dune Imperium. I thought
good.
it was just so much fun, and it's the combination of worker placement and deck builder. I mean, it was one of those things that just kind of, oh, that's such a cool idea. How come nobody's done that like this before? But then you've also got the conflict where you're going into the conflict zones trying to get the cards because you can get points and other goodies. Really like that a lot.
It's one of those I call them the rearranging the deck chairs games, where if you're not careful, You could be doing all these things, but nothing to win the game if you're not careful.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
And it's but at the same time too, I never felt like I think Jeff did get ahead of us and he eventually won, but I didn't feel like he was a runaway leader because I always felt like pretty much right up until the last maybe turn or two I had a shot.
Oh, not me though.
Well,
oh gosh, I sucked at that game first time I played it. I mean, I was about one of the worst first-time game playings I've ever had in a game.
But you still loved it.
I still enjoyed the game. I see the potential in it, but oh man, I really blew it.
Well, you haven't played a lot of worker placement, have you?
No, I haven't.
He's not a Euro guy.
No.
And you've not played a lot of worker placement.
No.
So the
So let's say
concept
that's it.
But you know, for me, like I say, it was a combination of worker placement plus deck builder added to the theme, and the whole thing to me was just freaking awesome. Yeah. And I've got I'll have a review coming out for that in a little while too, but I've got the minis coming too, so I'm excited to see what they look like. When I get those, we'll have to play it again.
Yeah.
All right, so that is Dune Imperium number 2. That is from Direwolf. All right, my number 1 of 1919. Now, you did not play this game, but this is one you do need to play at some time. I played this a few times now. I reviewed it a while ago, earlier this year, and I played it, and it's one of those games that I thought could, you know, when I first saw it, and I first thought I wanted to play it, I thought, this could be fun. This could be a fun game. And then I played it, and it absolutely blew me away. This is Versailles 1919.
Told me about
Versailles 1919, again from GMT Games. This game is a game that depicts, of course, the Treaty of Versailles, the Paris Peace Conference in 1919. It depicts the all of the historical characters that were there and the issues that were there, but it's a kind of an area control game, an area influence game. You've essentially got issues that you're all trying to vote on. Like you got 3 up here that are like kind of in the queue, and then you've got a couple down here, and you're placing cubes either on the ones that are down here or the ones that are in the queue, and you're trying to get the most on there so that you can then settle the issue. Now the problem is, of course, you can either put cubes on there or settle the issue. So if you put cubes on there, somebody else puts cubes on there, you don't want to settle it because you want your more cubes. So there's an interesting thing there. But what's cool here is after you settle an issue, those are like points, right, that you've got, like points in the bank. But here's the problem. Different parts of the world, you got a chart for the different parts of the world, they can have uprisings. And if they have an uprising, guess what? Potentially your thing is back up there and people can try to steal it from you.
Oh,
and so it's fun to try to get those things and then watch as people maybe try to manipulate the board and take them from you. But you've also got armies, and you can get rid of your armies for like an advantage temporarily, but then that can screw you later. It's just really good. It's almost it's kind of Euro-y, but it doesn't feel Euro-y. It feels more direct conflict, and there is negotiation. And I've said this 100 times. My favorite mechanic in games is negotiation, and you can essentially say, you know, I'll exhaust a bunch of my cubes. You can get your cubes back, but I want you to settle this issue. You know, you do stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun.
And it is. It's a great game. I really want you to play this one sometime.
Okay, let's play sometime.
So this is one definitely we're going to put on our list. All right, so that is my number 1, Versailles 1919 from GMT Games. Now, Zach, I noticed something very peculiar when I was putting my list together.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me just say this. I think GMT is clearly the winner here.
Yeah.
GMT, I got Imperial Struggle, Apocalypse Road, Caesar, Rome versus Gaul, and Versailles 1919.
Almost half.
So almost half are from the company. Worthington got a couple of games in there from Worthington with Napoleon and Chancellorsville. But GMT is probably the winner of this.
Yeah.
Zach, in the 6 years I have been doing these best of top 10 lists, this is the very first time Fantasy Flight Games has not been represented on my list.
Is that right? Well, that's sad, isn't it?
And this is a company that dominated my lists before.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And now they didn't come out with one board game last year, I think, that I played that I thought was amazing. And the last one, I think the last game they came out with, I think, that I played was the Final Hour, Arkham Final Hour. And I think that was even the year before.
Yeah.
That's the last game of theirs I think I played. Now last year there was only one FFG game, and that was Star Wars Outer Rim, which I really liked. But they've come out with 2 expansions this last year. They came out with the expansion for Civilization, which I have not yet played.
Okay.
Which, again, that's something else we got to play.
Oh yeah, I want to play that again.
And then the Twilight Imperium expansion, which I haven't been able to get my hands on yet.
So they're just playing around with properties already.
Well, they're doing they're chasing the money. They're going for, which is fine. I don't blame them. You know, they're doing what sells. They're doing the collectible games. They're doing Legend of the Five Rings. They're doing Star Wars Armada. They're doing Star Wars X-Wing. They're doing all the collectible games, which is great. But you know, I'm not collecting games. I did X-Wing and Armada for a while. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, I got my 3 or 4 boxes of X-Wing. I've got forever on that.
So I don't. But you know what? It is sad because that used to be a company that I used to think of. I could count on them every year coming out with 3 or 4 games that I fell in love with, and they don't do that anymore, and that's very sad. All right. So, Zach.
Yes.
Any final thoughts on the list or gaming in 2020 in general?
You're right. There were a lot of great new games. I don't nearly play as many games as you do. The only games I play are the ones that you say, "Hey, let's play," and that's how I get to know them. I look in my closet every game I've had either given to me or I played because I played with you.
Not that one. You introduced me to that one the other day that I had played.
The
Gates of Delirium.
Gates of Delirium.
Which is a fun game.
Yeah, which I never introduced you to games. That was exciting.
It was fun.
Yeah, but no, the games I did play, the Back to the Futures, Chancellorsville. I'm trying to think of any other new games that I played this year. I know there's a few more.
You played the Marvel. You played the Napoleon.
Yeah. Is that
Dune.
submarine one new this year?
What submarine?
The one where they actually kind of built the submarine?
No, the U-boat. That came out, I think, 2019.
Oh, okay. That was, I wasn't sure if that was new one or not. So
I'm pretty sure that was in 2020.
Yeah. So I didn't play that many this year, but the ones I played, I really enjoyed.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I say, the Back in Time, I played that again with my kids the other day. I hate that game, but I love it. But no, a good year for new games, or at least what I played.
All right, man. Well, thank you to Zach for joining us. Thank you once again to Game Haven for allowing us to shoot here for this top 10 list. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Discriminating Gamer. Please let us know what your favorite games of 2020 were. Please comment. Let us know what you think of mine. And always happy to hear from you on these lists. Ladies and gentlemen, please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are the Discriminating Gamer. Now, for just a moment, we would like to take a moment of silence to remember the brave men who fell during the Battle of Benny Hill.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love to fight, but I don't ever win. It's a fine line to damnation, but God let me in.
Yo, what the heck?
We're all dead.
So, wow. Wow. So that's the game.
All right, everybody, great game.